Welcome back everyone. Anyway, today we have our first NECA of, well, I guess you could call it a NECA-thon, because I have so many NECAs to review. And we're starting out with the first one, and this is the only Godzilla that I'll review. We have the 1994 Space Goji, aka the NECA 1994 Godzilla, so let's go over it. First we have our package. Some figures had different packaging. This packaging was used for some. Unfortunately, I didn't get the Space Goji box with the poster, but I got this one. Let's get onto our figure. So the articulation. The head goes a full 360. The neck goes a full 360. Over here we have articulation. Arms go full 360 in and out. We have quite a few joints in the arm. I think that's pretty good. Swivels. And then the fingers move. The legs, they can go 360, except this looks very cursed. There's that very tight joint here at the ankle. I think that's a problem with many NECA Godzillas. The joint, because it's not just this one. There's many figures where the joints, this specific articulation joint, are always so tight. Got a ball joint there. The tail. And I'll talk about this later, but you have a few joints in the tail. And there's this one big piece with bendy wire at the end. For size, he's about to be 6 inches tall. The paint is pretty good. He's kind of painted in this nice, beautiful, it's kind of silvery black, as you can see throughout the whole body. But there are some points in this figure where, like here, you have a bit of green. I don't know if it's noticeable on camera, but there's some greenish colors in there. I think that's a pretty look. And then for the nails, for some reason, they were blue, not blue, but maybe turquoise. They have the colored teeth in and the gums, then the eyes. Although this could just be my Godzilla, but I noticed one pupil looks off very far to his right, and then this one's looking straight, which looks weird from this angle. And then you have the paint on the spines, which looks fine. They're white with a bit of just black spots, and it just goes like that throughout the whole thing. And again, I'll talk about that later as well. As for the sculpt, it's pretty good. Although I have a few things that maybe bother me and not someone else. But the tail here is very thin. I think it should have been thick and then it went thin. An example of this is with the Bio Goji. You can see that it is thin, but it's got some thickness to the tail and it stays all true to the tip of the tail. That's not the case here. It's kind of different. It's very thin. I don't like that look. I know most Godzillas are thin. Well, most, not all of them, but I don't think it should be this thin. I think it should be a little more chunkier. He's very muscular and bulky like the Godzilla. He painted and sculpted every single little detail and scale on this figure. Not one piece isn't detailed. Got his chunky legs and then his face. And then you got the little spines over here. They gave this guy some of that too. I'm gonna be honest, I think this is the first NECA Godzilla which I have a few questions to ask. Maybe it's just me, but I'll never understand NECA's quality control. And what do I mean by that? For example, you can see a giant chunk of plastic here, which limits the articulation on the head. So it's very hard for him to look down, but not to the sides. Even then, it's tight though. But you can see it limits the head's way of looking up. But then on other figures, they don't do that. Instead, they cut pieces like on this Goji in specific so that he can look up, and not for him. Or should I mention the fact that this only has a few joints in the tail, and then ends off with a bendy wire which will break over time and you may not be able to use it. But unlike our last friend, he doesn't have a bendy wire. So why give it to one and not the other? Or why dry brush the black on some spines but then not on others? As you can see, the effect is very beautiful and quite accurate to the film, unlike this, which looks a little messy. So you get my point. I'm questioning NECA's take on the quality of their figures. Like, for example, giving some ball joints and then others bendy wire. Like, why does he get bendy wire? Why doesn't he just get fully articulated? As you can tell, I'm not a fan of bendy wire on Godzilla. On Aliens, it's a bit easier. It doesn't break, and it actually feels smooth and very nice to the touch. I have many Alien NECAs, and I feel like bendy wire on these works. But then on Godzilla's, I have the opposite feeling. I feel like the difference here is because an Alien's tail is very smooth, thin, and skinny. Meanwhile, Godzilla's tail is a lot chunkier and bulky and muscular. I don't really like that bendy wire. And of course, as many know, it's very easy to break. Anyway, from our last Heisei Godzilla, I feel like this one wasn't as good. Still gonna ask why they gave this Godzilla kind of turquoise, bluish nails, but besides that, it's honestly a pretty good figure. It's not really that bad. Pretty good figure. I'm gonna give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It captured the appearance of Godzilla from the film. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for my next NECA review. Bye bye.